Hello, I'm so happy to be here with you today. I am getting so excited because tomorrow, Wednesday, the 26th of November, my book and workbook officially hit bookstores. They are probably already on the shelf right now. So I wanted to give you a little bit of the behind the scenes about what this book is meaning to solve in the world, because I think that's kind of the point, right? What is relevant to you about this book? Why does it matter? So I think one of the interesting things about it is I'm an artist who wrote a tax book, and that's not a very obvious combination, right? So why is the world going to benefit from the tax guide that is written by an artist? This podcast subtitle could be an ode to a good education, an ode to an education for education's sake, or a shout out to the art history majors. This is really the product of art school, the product of design thinking, the product of that holistic quality about getting a great education where you connect the dots, one thing to the next, and you put things in context. So really, in a lot of ways, I think this book showcases what can happen when you have a real wide breadth of experience in the world. You are curious and tying things together. And I think you're going to experience that as you read it. So let me break down just the two things that I think are the most unique and frankly come out of an artist training, and they're why this tax guide is good. So first, I put everything in the book in context. This is something I've been doing for a decade as I teach tax workshops and give big speaking events to large crowds and teach about how taxes work, especially for freelancers, people who are self-employed. So what I find is that if you read most of the tax guides that are out there, all of them, in my opinion, what you're going to find is somebody who is way down in the details, right? You're going to find, oh, you need to do Form 4628 and then fill out this. And then, oh, we're going to 179 that expense, right? Kind of like, sure, accurate, right? But helpful? I mean, it is telling you what you need to do, but it's doing it in such a myopic way that it doesn't really feel helpful. It feels actually overwhelming because the human mind is not built to retain a whole list of form names and numbers, right? I find that most people confuse the most basic tax forms. The number of people I see who don't know the difference between a W-4 and a W-9 is enormous. That's most people. And it's not really your job to know the names of all the tax forms, right? What it is your job to know is how to do your own taxes, why it matters, why we pay tax, why we fill out a tax return in the first place, right? What is a tax return actually doing? I don't find that there's a book out there that really actually answers that question until I wrote it. So that is what I like to do as I teach, and it's what I do in this book. I give the context, like here's the whole solar system, and here's where your planet sits within that solar system. Here's how it orbits and why that matters and what it's actually doing for you. Here are the benefits of it that you are entitled to, that is your right to take when you retire. And so I find that when people walk out of my workshops, the comment I get the most is, wow, I actually didn't realize it was that fair. I feel a lot better about paying my taxes now. Who doesn't want to feel better about paying their taxes, right? And I will also admit to you that I have a secret agenda in this book. I find that people like us, people who are really driven by a mission, trying to do something in the world where money is not the focus, but actually getting this amazing thing done, whether it's environmental justice or social justice or creative work, I find that that is exactly the audience that makes the best advocates and organizers. And to arm and equip this group of people, you, dear listener, with information about what actually is fair in the tax code, this thing that I'm doing in my tax return, this is why, and this is what's fair about it. And this is what rights it gives me and what I should be able to demand for my elected representatives because I paid this particular part of my tax, right? And to advocate and push back against all that programming we get from our corporate overlords to try and think about taxes in the way that's advantageous to them and not to us. So this book is counter-programming that particular issue, which is the reason why we get such unjust tax laws like the One Big Beautiful Bill Act that was just passed. So this book is a rallying cry. It gives you context. It helps you identify what's fair and not fair in a tax law, and it paints the vision of what is possible in a world where our taxes worked as we did and our representation was as fair and wonderful as we want it to be, as we are trying to push for it to be. So I find that context is really helpful just on the practical level too, as you're trying to get your taxes done, because you have a sense of like, oh, as I calculate my cost of goods sold for my jewelry business, this is the reason cost of goods sold rules exist. And so, yes, keeping a careful inventory of my diamonds is very important. Whereas if I am printing wedding invitations, the teeny tiny, hard to even quantify amount of ink I use on every single wedding invitation, that is less in the spirit of the cost of goods sold laws. And I can estimate that's a place where it doesn't matter and I don't have to stress so hard. So it really shows you, here's where it matters, here's where it matters less, so that you can actually focus on what matters. I think that's a really great way to write a tax book. That was something that was really important to me as I did it. So you can experience taxes for humans doing your taxes, and you're not going to have to memorize form names and numbers. Anywhere that you need a form, I link you to it. I show you where to find the form. And for numbers that change every year, rather than giving you a bunch of charts with a bunch of overwhelming numbers, I just give you the URL where you can find this year's number, right? So it's a book that's written not to go out of date, out of style, a year from now, 2 years, 5 years from now. It's a book that is written evergreen to be a reference that serves you every single year. And it shows you where to get the updates. And a lot of those are at the IRS website itself, right from the mothership. And some of them are directing you to resources on my website that will help you with the things that are a little more specific to the world that you and I are operating in. So the second thing that I have done in this book that I find innovative and important is I have made it visual. So have you ever had that experience where something feels really confusing to you and it's hard to kind of understand this like messy complex of information, but as soon as you see that data visualized, suddenly it clicks into place? That is what I have done. I have done that work, and believe me, it is work. Work that hopefully you don't ever have to see or experience yourself. You just get to look at a visual of what itemizing is. So you see a bucket for itemized deductions and a bucket for the standard deduction, and you see that you're weighing which one is bigger, right? And that just conceptualization of that concept helps you realize, oh, that's something that goes in the itemized bucket, and I don't do that. Right? It's not as big as my standard deduction. So those visuals are going to snap this knowledge right into place the minute you look at them. Side note, I know how much anybody who is a designer who is listening to this knows how much work it takes to make something look easy. Actually, we could all look to Simone Biles for that too, right? Making something look easy doesn't mean it is easy, right? There is a lot of work that goes in to really breaking concepts down and making them digestible. What can we leave out? What is important we keep in? What are the concepts we're trying to convey here, right? I have done that work for this book. So you're going to see visuals in the book that make you understand your taxes in a way you have not seen before. I'm really proud of that. And actually, because I put so much work into them, one of the things, this is just a little side note, one of the things I negotiated in my contract with my book deal is that I negotiated to own all of my visuals. So I actually have the copyright on all of the diagrams that I made in the book because, it's probably, if anybody steals any of the information in the book, that is the thing they're going to steal. It's the thing that's the quickest and most valuable. And so I just wanted to be the owner. And the other wonderful thing about owning those diagrams is I can use them however I want. And you're going to see where that plays into your benefit right now. So give me a minute. Let me tell you the other thing I do in this book, and then we'll circle back to that value and me being able to use my visuals for whatever purpose I want to benefit you. All right. So the last thing I want to talk about, why this book is really different from any tax guide you've ever looked at before, why it's going to feel completely different, is that I do the emotional work. I didn't grow up being great at money. I did not grow up the daughter of an accountant. I have really experienced the horror of feeling judged and shamed and devalued in the work that I do as a creative person. I have been told that I should get a real job. I actually tell that story in the book. And I have felt really disempowered because I didn't have money, and I also didn't know how to get the information that I needed, especially not without enduring a lot of psychological bruising, right? There are a lot of people out there who don't even approach accounting. Like they haven't even had the experience of being shamed by an accountant because they're too scared to even try to reach out to an accountant because they're so worried about how they will be treated, judged, shamed for the creative work they do and for, frankly, not making a ton of money, right? And I get that. I have felt it personally. And I've made a lot of mistakes, and this book will help you avoid mistakes I have made, avoid mistakes my clients have made, and it is also going to hold your hand and show you how common it is to feel this way, and how I see the work that you do as being the work that our world needs. And in fact, I want you to have every dollar as you possibly can, because I think that work you're doing is so important, and I want you to do more of it, reach more people, be more bold, make more brave work for this world. So I really want you to feel that feeling of love and safety that I have put all throughout this book. It is a book that is not here to judge you. It is a book that says your work is so amazing. The world needs it. So let's get you more money. Let's get this tax stuff into some better systems that are going to make it easier every year. So you don't have to spend your time on this the way that you are now, right? That is the point. All right. And I also want to just mention, I know I talk about the book a lot, and the book really is my baby. It is the one that really teaches you how to do it, teaches you the systems. But I do want to also spend a minute telling you that the workbook, what the role of the workbook is. So think of it like the book is the teacher, the workbook is the coach. Okay. So actually, a lot of the emotional labor, it's all throughout Taxes for Humans, the book, but the workbook actually has even more. It really does the job of, okay, you learned the stuff in Taxes for Humans. It's walked you through everything. You can, with some effort, you can do it all on your own with just that. And that's great. But the workbook is like, okay, hey, so I see you, and I see that even with that information and even with that feeling of empowerment, you're still struggling a little bit with your own feelings about money or your fear of the IRS. Let's actually one by one kind of work through some prompts together about what that emotional weight is that you are carrying and what are the things that are going to help you get through it so that you can do this work. Okay, so the workbook is there for those of you who need that coaching, who need that really gentle guiding hand to be like, hey, I really know you can do this, but let's work on it. Let's work on this mindset stuff. Okay, the workbook also has a tax organizer, my tax organizer in it. It takes up about a third of the workbook. And this tax organizer is something that you could photocopy and use every single year to actually gather every piece of information that you need to do your taxes. So it is actually, once you have filled out the workbook tax organizer, you will be ready to put that information directly into tax software or hand it to an accountant. So just to let you know, that is the job of the workbook. It is the coach, and it is the, okay, we're answering question 1, question 2, question 3. We got this. Okay, question 4 is a little tricky. Here's what you need to know about it. So it's not just asking the question, it's coaching you through every question. So if you get through the book and the workbook, you will be ready to enter your information into tax software and be done. So that is what I want to tell you about that. In fact, the workbook is dedicated to my mom. And the reason I dedicated it to my mom is because I am so lucky to have had the mother that I do. I feel so loved and so supported unconditionally. And so I dedicated the workbook to my mom because I feel like that unconditional, judgment-free love is what helps all of this feel possible. So really and truly, this workbook is there and it has your back, and it's going to make you feel good, not bad. So that is the purpose of the workbook, which I realize I have talked very little about. So I was thinking, because my book comes out the day before Thanksgiving, and it's the week of Black Friday. So it's been really hard to actually plan like a book launch or anything because everybody's away for Thanksgiving. So in fact, if you are in Asheville, you are invited to my book launch, but it is the week after. It is December 3rd, Wednesday, December 3rd at the Tracy Morgan Gallery, which is the gallery that represents me here in Asheville. So that's 6 to 8 p.m. at the Tracy Morgan Gallery, and you are definitely invited. Definitely come, say hi, bring your friends. But what I want to offer to you now today, the day before the release of the book, where it's probably already in your local bookstore, I want to offer a mega bonus if you decide to buy the book and the workbook. This is launch week. This is the week that if I have sales enough, I could get a bestseller, and I probably don't have another chance to get a bestseller at all. So this is the week to buy the book. If you possibly feel like you might want it, I hope that this is the week you do it. So to encourage that and to give you the absolute best bonuses I can possibly think of, I decided to take some of the very best parts of the book, which are the visuals, and create a package called Your Taxes Made Visual. It is all of those helpful visuals from the book and some of the checklists that, for example, there's one checklist called Big Deal versus Not a Big Deal. And it's all the things that you actually should spend some time figuring out on your taxes, and then the little stuff that you don't have to sweat at all. I love stuff like that. I love triaging. Worry about this, but don't worry about that. Because I just find it cuts off a whole bunch of your stress instantly. So that package, Your Taxes Made Visual, it's super cool. It really represents a huge amount of the work in the book, even though it takes 5 seconds to flip through and digest it. And I get to do that because I negotiated to own these diagrams myself. So that is one of the reasons I was thinking about this as I wrote this book, as I even began the process. I wanted to be able to give this to you, give it away. So if you buy the book and the workbook, Your Taxes Made Visual, this PDF I have made of those best diagrams to visualize your taxes, I will give this to you instantaneously for free. Hang on a sec. I'm going to tell you the other bonuses, then I'll tell you how to get them. On top of that, I'm also giving you a short course called Unlock the Secrets in Your Tax Return. So what this is a short video guide with visuals showing you how to unlock key insights from last year's tax return. Check for mistakes before they become IRS inquiries, and find the numbers that help you all year, like what number can I base my quarterly taxes on? How do I know if I need to pay quarterly taxes this year? What do I check to be sure I reported all my income correctly without double counting any or under-reporting any, which is breaking the law? How profitable was my business last year? How much am I paying myself? How much am I paying in self-employment tax? How much of my income has withholding already and how much doesn't? In other words, how much do I need to adjust either my withholding at my day job, or do I need to start paying quarterly taxes? Those answers exist for you already in last year's tax return, and this short and sweet video that includes visuals this short and sweet video unlocks how to find them. So it's kind of like a 40-minute video that is an answer key, how to find it all on your tax return without paying $200 an hour for an accountant to find that info for you and interpret it for you. All right. So it's a really powerful little video that gets you this incredible unlock to your taxes. And lastly, I am also offering you my most popular ever course, 1-hour course, soup to nuts, that is called IRS Proof Your Business Deductions. You can protect your finances and save money. It can be completed in just an hour. It's for artists, creatives, healers, and other visionary self-employed small businesses. And it's got everything that you need to know about self-employed tax deductions. All right. It's visual and clear, and it is not dry or boring. Okay. So those 3 mega bonuses in honor of Black Friday coming, I am calling them the opposite of black. They are the super bright bonuses. I'm trying to shine the light on you so that you and your amazing work can just shine and shine and shine. So these are my super bright bonuses. And if you want to get them, all you need to do is go out and buy Taxes for Humans, the book and the workbook at any bookstore or online. I love your favorite local bookstore. It's my favorite place, but you can get them anywhere you buy a book, and just fill out a short form on my website where you email me. You're going to include a snapshot of your receipt that shows that you bought the book and the workbook. And as soon as we get that receipt, we're going to send you instantaneously, automatically, those 3 bonuses. The Unlocking Your Secrets in Your Tax Return video, that popular IRS Proof Your Business Deductions course, as well as this instantaneous Your Taxes Made visual package, which is all of that incredible hard work that is super fast to digest. It's going to make you unlock and understand your taxes really fast. So to do that, you just need to purchase Taxes for Humans, the book and the workbook, and fill out the short form at sunlighttax.com/superbright. All right. This is my super bright bonus for the week of my launch. I am celebrating with you, and I want you to have the most powerful things that will help taxes feel doable, get you the most money, and help you really understand it and feel great about it. So go to sunlighttax.com/superbright to get those 3 bonuses. And I'm so happy to celebrate, and I cannot wait for you to read my book and workbook and make your taxes easier now and forever. Thank you so much. Happy launch day, and I will see you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. It really helps. I'm so grateful. My tax guide, Taxes for Humans, is available wherever you buy books and at sunlighttax.com/book. This podcast is for education and entertainment only. Nothing in this episode should be taken as individual tax or financial advice. You can find all the tools, books, and links I reference at sunlighttax.com/podcast.